Does that make sense?
Yes, I've never
Your work spoke, you've never.
I've never asked for a pay hike. My bosses know. I've never discussed money. They see what I do, they pay, or they give an adjustment. I've never woken up to go and ask for a pay hike.
Okay.
So I finished the JQuat. I even got a job. That job I was describing, KCB, but I didn't pursue it. Then now I needed to do an office setup internship for the MBA. That's how I ended up in Centum in the office. Then I ended up in a department called real estate. It's part of the department that owns parking. Then there was Chris. There was Lawrence had left. There was Chris Ochieng was the boss. And then there was Zakaria Chira, an engineer. He was the guy in charge, the project manager.
Yes.
And then now Kevin Kamemba, who's the numbers person, very successful. And now there is Kenneth Mbae. So I go to the office.
And the office is in town?
In town at International.
So I used
to go there, but when I used to go pick the parking thing and go. So I never used to spend time there. Now I'm required to be there on a permanent basis.
Okay. So what year is this that you start?
That's 2012, I think.
And you're doing this just as a way to do this. You asked for it so that you could graduate. Because you need this to graduate.
Yes. So I get to the office, I find Chira, Chris and Kevin. So we start working. Anyway, they knew me from the parking side. So we start working.
What does work look like in that?
Chira had all manner of work. He was a tough boss. So we started by doing research. So there's 2 rivers land that had been acquired. It needed to be fenced. So that was my work and Mboro to go to 2 rivers and make sure the fencing is complete.
What?
Yes.
2 rivers in its...
It was a napier grass. There was nothing there.
Wow.
Yeah. And it had some people who were there. People were farming napier grass and other things there. So
illegally or squatters or...
No, legally.
Legally,
yeah? Yeah.
Okay.
So we finished the fencing. So I used to go to be there, go around. There was nothing.
So there was no Roslyn Riviera. It was just Village Market, and then there's... Yes, I remember.
After Village Market, nothing else then work.
In fact, I remember, I think there was Gringos. Was it Gringos there?
Gringos, the Kaba.
Yes.
Yes, nothing else up to Ruaka, Delta, nothing. Even the bypass had not been built.
Wow. So, by the time you're joining this, they've already acquired that.
They have already acquired. So now it's when feasibilities, market studies are being done. Also, real estate has been set up as a department, but data needs to be, they need to file data. So I was doing everything. So first, we created a filing system with Zach. Zach created a filing system, then he asked me to populate. So for every file that is there, either it's an engineering file, there's a soft copy, and there's a hard copy of the engineering reports. If it's a market study report, there's the soft copy, hard copy, anything, all the correspondences. So I started doing that work, but I liked it.
So, for example, the engineer tells you what? Like,
so now, right now...
So, because you're not the one who's creating the data, you're being given a hard copy that you need to duplicate.
So there is let's say there is the hydrological report.
Okay.
This is just a report to say there is water.
Yes.
So they have done studies, they have done inspection of site, they have put together the background of the water table, I don't know, aquifers.
Yes.
They have ended up anyway demonstrating value for money and put together a report that says if you are to drill boreholes, it will be this point, that point, this point.
Yes, and this how much liters you can expect to get.
Yes, or a design, a survey report. A surveyor has checked all the beacons, done references.
Yes.
They have put together a report. The architect has done a concept. They're saying, given the site, given the sunrise, the sunset, this is how it would look like, a perspective from the north, east, south.
Yes.
They've put together these reports. Then there are correspondence on all manner of things, proposals. So I'm the one who was putting those together. and firing them.
Just from that, were you being educated? Were you getting educated about this world?
I read each one of them to sufficient detail. I used to read them thoroughly and file because I needed to know. Remember, I have no background in real estate. So if a report is being asked for,
you need to know what to
I need to know which report it is. So I read them, and I know I was curious. I would read, and then is it Dubai Mall that had just been finished built? It was the largest mall. So YouTube was full of a lot of engineering work and design work from Middle East. So I would watch, connect, and understand. Then when there are meetings, I'm the one who was taking minutes. So some of the terms of design, architecture, I didn't know them. So I would leave a dash there or not, write my own words, then go watch, then tomorrow I would come and do a public plaza, I don't know, a piazza, all manner of things. Then I was meant to do research to understand every single building in Nairobi.
No way.
That was my own initiative, because you are appointing research firms to undertake research on behalf of us. So how do we verify that they went and what they are talking about, that their apartments, their shopping malls,
it's true?
It's true. So that was my work.
Hey, Ken. Let's move slowly here because my mind sees, like, I'm very blown away by this conversation.
Yes.
My mind sees, it's like yours a bit. I'm seeing the third degree perspective.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, this is not what you went to study.
Yes.
So you are teaching yourself to teach yourself. You have, I keep saying, majority of people spend time on YouTube watching entertainment over education.
Yeah.
You looked for a source to find the education to learn about the industry.
Yes.
So that's where you learned about this whole thing from Dubai.
Yeah, and I knew this story of biochemistry, had come to an end for me. I knew that one, but I needed something on the line of business. So now something
But
happens.
Also another thing, what has happened, again, and sorry for interjecting, but also sorry, not sorry, because I don't want you to run over this quickly. This is what you are doing in the sports club.
Correct.
On steroids.
Yes, yes.
It's now that you've just been added more, but it's the same thing, bigger responsibilities.
Yeah. So now the research bit, I start doing research. When I joined Centum, there were 11 employees or thereabout. The cab used to use Kenatco as the taxi company. The bill was normally 20,000, 5,000. It was not much. People were driving. Very few people were taking cabs. Now me, I used to map out like restaurants, take a cab. Then is when this one General Madenge, all these projects were coming up in restaurants. I would visit each one of them and write a simple report, a presentation.
This is your own initiative. Nobody has told you to do this.
No one has asked me. People have asked me, what's the market study? I've studied those Knight Frank reports. I've studied what is on the desktop, that I know. But you see, when there were department meetings where I used to go and Moria was there. But I would see James would ask questions, and if you answer, if it's something you can ask someone across the road and get the same answer, then your morning will not be very nice, I would see. So I never wanted to be asked and provide a pedestrian statement.
Oh my God.
So I started it sending somewhere. So I would visit all these projects. There isn't an apartment block that was built in 2012, 2013, even 2014 that I had not been into. There wasn't a shopping mall. That is when Two Rivers, TRM, Gariri, all these things were coming up. I'd gone to all of them. I would go take a letter of offer, promise the company I work for, they are interested. So I would know. Then people started teaching me how to sell.
Yes.
Meet sales people there. They teach you how to sell indirectly. Then they tell you we are 80% sold. You probe further. You buy them lunch. Then you find out they are just 5% or 10% sold. But something happened. That month, the taxi bill came back at 120,000. Then it was a problem. Even the finance director, RISPA, needed to know who is this who has been on a tourism mode with our taxi service. So I was asked, what do you do with these cabs? and I generated a report that this is what happens this is what's happening in Westlands, this is what is happening in Upper Hill, this is what is happening in all these places, this is what is happening. So people started paying attention that to verify the market study, go to Ken.
Yeah.
That's one. So now I had to generate a report to justify why these cabs drop me home very late and why they are moving every weekend, every time I'm moving. Then now, from my reading the reports and watching, there were project update meetings where I would have all the engineers, the architects in these meetings. Me, I was just take notes, but I would start disputing, like where Two Rivers, the water demand has been said to be, let's say, 3,000 cubic meters. These are 3 million liters per day. And the engineer would say, make an error, just say it's 4,000. Then I would say on page 6 of this report that was done by WSP, it says this much. Then I would say the power demand analyzed would say this much. Just provide numbers. So people started paying attention. How come? On behalf of who are you? So that's how I started getting noticed. Then everyone started giving me assignments. So I would get assignments from Zakaria, who was staff. I would get assignments from Chris Ochieng, who mentored us in a big way. I would get assignments from Kevin, but Kevin was an investment guy. He's in charge of businesses in Africa. So he would give me assignments now to do modeling. So I had to teach myself how to do financial modeling analysis. Anyway, Centum was a school. That's how I ended up now getting additional responsibility.
You guy, let me tell you, I am so blown away by this conversation. I think this is just absolutely incredible. Your mind, your understanding, your thing that you said, go up, above and beyond. It's one thing to say it. Now you're showing it.
Yes.
There's something you talked about, the taxi bill.
Yeah.
It's very funny how the company has, actually not very funny, isn't it interesting how the company had an issue with the taxi bill on the basis of how much it costs. But the moment they understood what it was for,
yes,
because you provided facts, the money wasn't an issue. Yes. In fact, they were very happy, I'm sure.
Yes. And then at this time we're being trained, the beauty with Centum, there were trainings every Friday on something. So at any given time, there is a leadership training. Then now I got confirmed, got a
After how
job.
long?
After working for a year.
After a year?
So
in this internship time, you are earning basically...
that year or so.
Base pay?
Yeah. I never went to ask for anything. It's just one day Chris asked me, now, Ken, you've been here, have we ever given you a rate? I said no. Then they gave me.
Ah, my God. This city is so good. Like, your story is breaking the lies, okay, not the lies, the narrative that is there on how to progress in life, how to get jobs. You're talking about going up and above beyond. You're talking about you let your work show, you didn't go and ask. Does that make sense?
Yes, I've never
Your work spoke, you've never.
I've never asked for a pay hike. My bosses know. I've never discussed money. They see what I do, they pay, or they give an adjustment. I've never woken up to go and ask for a pay hike.
Guy. What a different narrative. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. This one is heavy for me. This is such an incredible story. We're coming back in a few. Ponder this episode. In fact, not even ponder. This episode needs to be shared with as many people as possible under the age of 35. Share it.